Hello and welcome to the Eileen's Army podcast. For as long as I can remember, I have had an interest in the unseen, the unknown, the occult. As a child, I could sense presences, energies. I could, not often, but sometimes see beings, entities. They were usually not the happy, friendly spirits, but it intrigued me a lot. And I would see aura colours as well. Anyway, write music, I do artwork, and I've been on a healing path since I was 18. So, about 20 odd years. I want to talk about healing. My own personal healing. I'll start by saying a few years ago I had a very significant experience of trauma. It was somebody who I knew who stalked me and gaslighted me and made me question my reality in a very strong, significant way. I think this person is possibly a psychopath. He's very skilled with various manipulation techniques like in NLP, hypnosis, that kind of thing. Anyway, and that's not really what it's about, but what happened in that time period made me very unwell, unstable. I really did think I was losing my mind. It was very effective. But something happened to me. I was in a real dark place. I was deteriorating, mentally deteriorating. And I reached a point where something inside me kind of snapped. And it was like a do or die decision, where I either grab this and do something and be bold, or wither and die. So I confronted him. I was very scared. I confronted him about what manipulation is, and because I knew in the back of my mind, I knew what was going on. I knew that he was indeed showing up at these random places. It was him. I knew it was, even though he was hiding. And it was bizarre. It was him. And so I confronted it. Obviously he denied it all and was calling me crazy and was quite nasty. But in that moment, I was reading an article, and I'd sent the article to him saying, look, I know what you've been doing and this is it. And as I was reading it, he was reading it at the same time. And he was behaving, it was over Messenger, so it was texting. He was displaying all of the way that the article was describing someone like that would behave. He was doing it all in that moment. And it was so strange. Something happened in my mind. I'll never forget it. It was like, when you can remember everything about a moment. I remember where I was sitting. I remember how I was sitting. I remember everything that was around me. Something from the back of my mind, the back of my head, it felt like, the back of my brain, moved to the front. Mushing, not a bad word. In a melding, it felt like it melted. Something from the back melted into the front. It was really strange. And then it was like the crown of my head blew open. It was so strange. But with that whatever that was, I could perceive people on the cluster B spectrum really easily, really easily. I was raised by a parent with, I suspect strongly, had a narcissistic personality disorder. and I was the only child in a single parent family, so I got it quite bad. And so I guess, when you grow up in that kind of environment, you are sort of brainwashed and you're mind controlled to a certain degree. So something in that moment shifted. It was like something unravelled. Well, my therapist said that it was my filter. My filter was gone. It dissolved or something like that, which makes sense. Anyway, I could suddenly perceive with so much clarity when people were being manipulative, even when it's really subtle. Micro expressions, different body language, tone of voice. It was bizarre. And I think the very next day I had a family holiday that I was going on, and my family members were all very high on the spectrum as well, and I could see it. It was almost as if light bulbs were going off above their heads, and I could see them. Their masks were gone, and for a few years I was very ungrounded. I mean, I wasn't well anyway because of what happened, but I was really stuck on that. I still am a little bit. I still get really hyper-focused on people that are high on the spectrum, and I think I kind of attract them as well. If you are more empathic and attract those dynamics, or you've been through this kind of abuse, I would recommend reading the material of Robert Greene. Reading his material obviously I've researched to death narcissistic personality disorder and cluster B spectrum to make sense of what I'd experienced in my young life. Before this shift took place, I was very naive. I used to always see the good in people, no matter what. Even when really terrible people, I would somehow manage to excuse their behaviour and see the best in them. And that was part of my conditioning, to always look past the bad behaviour of my caregiver. That's where it stemmed from, and see the good rather than focusing on the bad, for my own self-preservation. But after the event that happened a few years ago, that completely changed. I used to feel so drained by people. I would give my energy, my time very freely, and be drained by energy vampires, and I would be frustrated that I felt like I felt disempowered a lot of the time, like I had to give my energy and feel drained, and they felt better. But after this event, that completely changed, and I was suddenly able to control my empathy way I couldn't control it before. It just used to pour out to everyone. Well, I might be exaggerating a bit, but I was a bit of a pushover, I would say. I was very naive, and I probably did have a bit of a moving target on me. So somebody who's a narcissist, I was an easy supply. If you're familiar with narcissistic abuse, you'll know what this is all about. But so as difficult as this experience was, it took me a really long time to recover. I'm grateful that it happened. This shift needed to happen in order for me to live a full life and integrated. Why I enjoy reading Robert Greene's material is I really do see the importance of shadow work and recognizing your own shadow and moving through it. What I've come to realize is it's probably 50-50 of the people here. Some 50% are good, nice, kind, generous with their energy, and the other 50% are manipulative, selfish, and will do what it takes to get what they want. And I was really shocked by that. I thought there was a very minute number of people that were like that, and my eyes are wide open now, and it's about 50-50. So when you start to read up on, and Robert Greene talks a lot about manipulation tactics, so he's written The Art of Seduction, The 48 Laws of Power, The Laws of Human Nature, among others, but those are the three that I've read. A quote from his book by Carl Jung: "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." If you've grown up in an environment that's repressive and you've not been able to express your own narcissistic side, personally, I was not able to do that. I had to keep low, lay low, even though I'm a bit of a performer, a bit of a diva, and I couldn't be that while I was growing up. And so there is a lot of suppression with my own narcissism. So reading this material is so empowering. Like, it's okay to be angry with people and to want to take revenge. It's okay to say no to people, or even tell them to F off, and not to care so much about what others think of you. But these small little things like this are so empowering to somebody that's lived in a repressive state, whether it be their upbringing or some kind of abusive relationship. Thank you for tuning in today, and if you've made it to the end of podcast number 1, and hopefully see you again. Bye bye.